48-hour art check, round 20.
That's right.
I feel like something is bound to go wrong because I just realized I didn't check half the things I normally check before we go live. But it'll be entertaining at least.
Well, to put this into context, so we're both working on a pretty intensive special project that we kind of have already talked about ad nauseum as much as we can.
Yeah.
But needless to say, adding that to our plates, at least for me, has been pretty insane. And so tonight, I think I'm going to take the night off from that extra bit. Still got my comicking work done and stuff, but I think given the amount of stuff we've been taking on, I think this episode will be what it is,
Yeah.
right?
This is going to be a true kind of drive-by check-in. So we'll check in and bail.
Word. Sounds good.
Based on that, what have you done in the last 48 hours?
All right, so I am where I'd like to be on my cartooning. I got the panels 2 through whatever that last one is, 2 through 6, inked, and it went pretty much as I expected. I actually did get what I was hoping to get done. It was like a city scene that I had to draw for the animation project we're working on. And so I'm right where I'd like to be. So, but that said, I am pretty freaking exhausted.
Right.
The thing that I like about I do this occasionally. You might notice this on my comic, but I do these little kind of spot, almost diagrammatical moments, and I like to kind of integrate those in so it's a little less kind of literal in the narrative.
Right.
And it kind of breaks it up and makes it a little more lighthearted in areas where sometimes it needs a little more lightness. So, yeah, so this is getting into my character dressing up as Indiana Jones, and at this point in the narrative, he is about to present his soil samples that are collected in discarded communion cups, his chicken bone that he thinks is a saber-toothed tiger's tooth, his braided rope that he's pretending is a whip, his pilot's jacket, and his Indiana Jones fedora, and he's about to present to the entire classroom his amazing find on the playground. So it's a pretty fun part of the story. The next panel is going to be a beast, but that's where I'm at. Yeah, so I feel like I hit my point, hit my mark.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
so what about you?
2 minutes exactly.
Yeah.
I can't show anything that I worked on, so I'll just talk about it. I'm pretty excited. I made so there's, on the secret project, there's a shot where somebody opens their eyes, and so I tried to get that done as well as possible, and it's pretty cool because if you think about an eyelid, it goes from like a downward curve to an upward curve and transitions in between that because it's rotating. It's actually coming out spherically, and we're working in what most people would consider 2.5D, which is flat images separated in Z space. And so that was pretty challenging to do. And then to have that match, the left eye and the right eye, that was pretty cool. And then an extra added thing that I was pretty excited about, when people open their eyes, if they've been closed for a little while, their pupils have dilated. And so when somebody first opens their eyes, you see their pupils constrict and kind of oscillate in and out. So I added that in. And so anyway, I'm pretty excited with how that looks and how it came out. And then I also spent quite a bit of time. I don't know anything about lighting at this point. Like in illustration, I understand lighting, but in actual After Effects lighting. So I've spent a lot of time, I don't have anything to show for it, but experimenting with different types of lights and things like that. And so that's the secret project. Then, for reasons I'll get into during challenges, I wasn't able to do anything in my book. So, if you can count thinking about it, I've been thinking about it, but I haven't been able to get anywhere. So I'm behind where I am. I'm still pretty sure that I'll be able to do what I need to do. So I have to finish this spread this week and the next spread the next week, and then I will be done inking everything. But
and you'll still hit your mark if you do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll still meet my goal. I'm now about 1 day behind on a fairly tight schedule where I didn't really have any time to lose. So
yeah,
I'll make it up somewhere. Yeah. So how about, you want to do challenges? Let's do challenges. How about challenges for the last 48 hours?
My challenge in the last 48 hours has been sleep. I need to sleep. And so I've been kind of running on like very minimal sleep, and then we're in rush season, and I'm also doing interviews, which makes me behind on my main duties because one of my primary duties when we're understaffed is to get our staff up to speed at work. So, so that's been interesting. The interviewing process has been interesting and slightly depressing because I always feel I feel a lot of empathy for people applying for jobs. I've been in their position before many times, and I could easily be there tomorrow. And so it just kind of reinforces the idea that if you're out there and you're ever applying for a creative job, just like approach your interview as if that person wants to hire you as much as you want to be hired when you walk in the door. So it's really, it's just you just want to make sure it's a situation that benefits both people. And so that's been really kind of manageable up until today where, I did my music practice. I have like a band, and we practice usually every Tuesday, but we did it today. And then I got my comic work done, and then like right after that, I just got hit like a ton of bricks with like the reality that I'm immortal. Right. Not immortal, but amortal.
Amortal. It's like not symmetrical, it's asymmetrical.
Yeah. So requiring a lot of sleep. And so I think that tonight, to kind of stay sane and keep my sanity so that I can kind of continue to hit marks, I'm going to pretty much crash after this. I got my comicking done for the day. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, what about you? Challenges?
A number of them. My wife and daughter were out last week, and I got very used to being able to spend most of the evening doing my book and the secret project and other things. And now they're home, and so like I was rushing home to like get some stuff done, and then I realized, oh wait, I'm part of a family. So we like sat down and we ate dinner. And then my daughter's going through some emotional stuff. So there's like a big long conversation where we've got to kind of, talk through things. Nothing serious. Just, you don't want to ignore when they're upset. And then I didn't intend to do this, but for the same reasons that you're talking about, I accidentally fell asleep at the dinner table.
Oh, no.
So I don't know how long I was out, but that was a chunk of time I didn't plan for. And and then when I woke up, my wife said, "We're going on a date." And so we went and we saw Jurassic World, which sounds like, hey, you're working on stuff. Why did you do that? But like taking care of your relationships is really important. And
yeah, I think the only person who would say that is not a person in a healthy marriage. Yeah.
And I mean, we hadn't seen each other in a week or so.
Yeah, you gotta catch up.
Yeah, that was really fun. And we're gonna hang out after this, and I'll be able to sketch, while we hang out, which is one of the cool things about having portable electronics. So that's that, and then just more of the same, trying to get ready to leave soon. and just get all that planning and everything out of the way. And there's some adoption stuff with the home study that was approved that wasn't like filed correctly. So anyway, random stuff. Everything's working out. It's just all piling up right before we take off. So yeah. So that's challenges. How about plans for you? What are you planning on doing before Friday?
All right. I would like to finish that last panel for my comic. That is going to be really challenging to do. So by the time we meet, I may not be done with it, but I'd like to at least finish it by Friday night, like after art check at least. Mm-hmm. Hopefully before, but you never know. But definitely that night before Saturday morning, I'd like to have that done. And then that would get me at the point where Saturday I could do cleanups and stuff, which would be great.
Cool.
So for the comic, that's where I'd like to be. I really want to maintain working out. I even managed to do that today, which is actually probably why I'm still coherent and talking and could do the art check today.
And didn't fall asleep during dinner.
Yeah. Well, it's really like, honestly, I had a few moments. I'm coming pretty close. And then like my other goal would be to probably try to get like 2 more assets, or at least one of the more complicated assets. I think you'd know what I'm talking about. If it's a person holding a bottle.
Yes.
Pretty much. I think that would be the next key one to get done. And probably the third most complicated thing, and then I think the second most complicated thing will be close to one of the last things I do, which is, I think you probably know what that is, but it's another figure. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to get that, at least the person with the bottle done by Friday as well, so there's some assets to work with and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my goal for before Friday. And then just, obviously, I'm going to go over a little bit, but the main thing is just trying to kind of make sure that while I'm being ambitious, I also don't burn out. So, right. Like, making decisions like tonight, there are points where I'm like, you push yourself and you're like, there's that statistic about 20 seconds, or not 20 seconds, like you're usually at about 20% of full capacity when you're saying, oh, I'm done. Mm-hmm. But then it's really important to acknowledge those moments where it's like you are totally torched, and if you push it, you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And so like for me, it's like that's another goal, is like really retaining that balance, but also still being ambitious, which I think you and I are really similar. It's why we even took on this project. We're type A personalities, so it's very hard to kind of draw that line, right. At least for myself. So that's the big plans, and kind of, once again, kind of ties into challenges too.
Yeah. There's a line from the Jason Bourne books where he flashes back to some of his training. He's been pushing himself for a couple days, and he flashes back to the jungles of this Delta Force and is told, hey, sleep is a weapon. And it's like, because for him, it's everything is utilitarian, and I always remember that in times like this where I'm like, at some point pushing yourself too far means that you are actually not going to be effective. So you're just there. You're not working. You're actually wasting time by not sleeping. So yeah. So my plan. Is I'm actually probably not going to do much on the secret project, just mainly because I'm waiting for assets, and I think it'll be faster to get all of the assets or most of the assets in the scene that you're working on and put them together at once rather than one at a time, just because of opening things up and closing them. And then I'm gonna get that page done. Challenge is that I will be leaving Friday for a road trip. There's some people about 4 hours south of us, my cousins that are throwing us shower, baby shower. And so there'll be some travel and some things, but I'm still gonna get that spread done. In my mind, I don't know what it is, but it's a fairly simple spread.
Yeah.
So it might be 3 panels. It might be a spot illustration. It might be a montage. It's just something showing that it's showing their growing friendship.
Yeah, it's establishing the bird and the man kind of connecting.
Right. Yeah, and I've done a billion different things, and I've sketched out a ton in the past, like them playing checkers, but then they're poor, so why would they have checkers? And then the bird using chopsticks as stilts and dancing across the table, and the guy laughing, and there's just I've got a bunch of ideas, but none of them quite feel like the right moment yet. So I'm just going to keep exploring those things, and I actually use my daughter as a sounding board. She's really intuitive on stuff like this, and so whenever I've listened to her, the page always gets a lot better. So I'll probably spend some time with her and brainstorm some different things. But that's my plan, is to get that. I just need to make some progress, because before Sunday hits, I need to be on to the last 2 pages, and the final spread that I'm working on is significantly time consuming from the inking standpoint, but from the composition standpoint is really straightforward. So I already have most of the assets on another page because it's the same scene. So I'll probably take that from those pages and rearrange them and move them around in Photoshop and print it out. And so that penciling is even going to go pretty quick, but it is going to be, it's probably a 10+ hour inking job, just because of all the plants and wood, and I'm doing barnacles again and all that jazz. And it's like the last 2 pages of the book, and so I really want to make sure I'm not phoning it in.
Go out with a bang on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's feasible. I mean, I think the idea of waiting for some of those assets to come in is good.
Yeah.
And then I think that'll buy you some time to be in pretty good shape by Friday. So I think that sounds manageable.
Right.
And then, I think a good reminder to ourselves too, and this is no excuse, because once again, I'm literally crashing tonight, because if I even try to work on the animation at this point, I'm just it's gonna be half-assed.
Right. And we're still gonna meet the goals.
Oh yeah, we're gonna hit them. But that's what I was getting at, is but another good reminder is just the fact that these are personal projects, and the cool thing is, regardless, any step forward is a step forward.
Right.
And the other thing that's nice about it is that's how serious we are about personal projects, to where you miss a day and it's your own self-imposed deadline. It's you almost feel worse than you do missing, blowing a client deadline,
Right.
So I think we'll be in good shape, and I think we can catch up.
Yeah, and I think that's the power of this type of thing, because most people do this. Most people that are successful at personal projects do this, where you set kind of soft goals, soft deadlines, and you treat it like a hard deadline. But then if life happens, you have a cushion. And I mean, ultimately, these 4 pages that I have to finish, they have to be done a week from Friday.
Yeah.
And so, worst case scenario, I can still get that done. I kind of blew the last 48 hours by spending a little bit too much time on the animation and not enough time on that. But
with good results, though, I wish we could show it, because the dilation just adds this little extra touch, and
it looks so
really
good.
Smart thinking.
Yeah, I don't even know if I've showed you the lighting yet, but I've got a ceiling light.
Ooh.
Anyway, it looks good. Nice vignette around everything. Yeah, but anyway, but I mean, knowing that the hard deadlines, and so the 48-hour art check is interesting too, because this kind of little accountability session is helpful, And the way that we do that is, is we're just touching base real quick, reestablishing and adjusting things. And I don't know that there's a project out there that doesn't have a hiccup here or there where you underestimate something or something comes up or whatever that type of thing. You gotta reevaluate, see where you're at, what do I do to move forward and still hit the main goal at the end.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that this is reminding me of is like, it's like your wife, you said she's like kind of a long distance runner, and it's like that's a pretty typical thing for a runner. You usually would set like almost a mile too far as a goal, and then you kind of might hit that mile, but you're going to be pretty beat up after you go a little too far. But then the next time you do that jog or that run, you're going to hit that mile a lot easier. And the next time it's like a mile further, Yeah. And before you know it, you're doing long distance. Whereas you might have started and it was like, oh, I'm going to run around the block, Yeah. So it's, I think that's kind of what we're doing with these projects is just kind of trying to set the bar really high. And I still am maintaining that bar really high. I'm really hoping to, and I know we'll hit the deadlines on our personal projects, and I'm pretty sure on the animation one too. Yeah. It's just a matter of like, I might have been like you were saying about soft deadlines. I was probably hitting a soft deadline a little too hard. But once again, I think the more you're at this kind of thing, like you've been at doing personal projects for quite a while, me too, and I've learned how to gauge, like, is this me copying out or is this like, and at the point where you'd be like delirious if you work, probably a good point to take a pause and like go see a movie, like focus on your family or like, just have a break and pause and rest. And what's interesting is when you hit it again after that kind of thing, you'll have a lot of vigor. So I have a suspicion that the next one of these checks we're probably going to be in pretty good spirits. So
yeah,
hopefully.
Absolutely.
I really need rest. But I'm thankful for these things, and I really encourage everybody out there to like really take up doing this. Like whether it's 48 or you're doing the 168, or whatever it is, like having an accountability, even somebody to just bounce your own goals off of. Like it's super helpful, and for me, it keeps me motivated because I'm like, okay, next time I really want to have something to show. Yeah, and I'm excited to see that page. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah,
I would watch up like that little 5-minute section where it's like the really tear-jerking part at the very beginning with the couple and their relationship.
Right.
It's kind of like try to see like if there's moments in that ways they framed it that might kind of help.
Yeah, I was planning on binging a bunch of montages, a bunch of relationship montages, and see. So if you're in the comments, leave me as many different movie montages of people getting to know each other, falling in love, or becoming friends that you can think
like
of.
what's a good single image that expresses kind of friendship?
That
would be good.
I know. Right. I'll go as far as saying this. If you give me an idea that I use, I will give you something. You can have anything from my store you want. No, some of that stuff is really expensive. You can have any print or a T-shirt or a sticker. If you come up with an idea, because that will be well worth my time and money if you guys could solve that for me. Anyway, so there's an idea.
It's a really good giveaway. Ox is in the chats and he said, just watch any Bon Jovi video.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, we're doing it. All right. I think we should call it so you can go to sleep and I can get some stuff done before I pass out. Okay. So if you would like to check out Josh's stuff, as always, go to quarterlystories.com. If you want to check out my stuff, go to corykerr.com. Thanks to No Saboteurs, and probably normally I'd do a joke here or some sort of quip or pitch or something, but we're both about to crash, so we're just gonna call it, and we'll see you guys on Friday. We're out.
Bye.